Students, now let us look at different important factors for the equipment selection. Of course, if you can remember, for a vendor selection, we had different factors. In terms of our inventory, we also determined different factors that affected our inventory. In terms of our intra-facility, we have to look at different factors for the equipment selection as well. Of course, if you can recall, we know that there is a weighted factor analysis technique. We also know that there is an analytical hierarchy process as well, AHP. You know that how to actually use these techniques in order to elicit weights for different type of factors. But first of all, for using such type of technique like AHP, we have to first of all know or enumerate what are the important factors for the equipment selection. If you look at this table, we have different categories in terms of cost structure, in terms of capacity, in terms of flow path, and in terms of operating conditions, and different factors related to it. So for example, for a cost structure, if you are looking at the cost of the equipment selection, of course this is one of the important economic or the primary economic criteria. We will be looking at the purchase price of that equipment. We will be looking at the operating cost as well. And of course, we will be looking at the maintenance cost. So during when that equipment is being used, what would be the maintenance cost for, let's say, the next 5 years? Then there are factors like capacity in terms of weight, volume, and the type of material that can be handled by that equipment is important. This would not be an economic factor, but it's an important factor when you are trying to determine what would be the type of equipment for your material. And of course, capacity would be an important factor for it. Then we have a category of flow path. In the category of flow path, we actually look at different factors like direction of the travel, the type of movement, whether it would be straight or whether it would be flexible. Of course, you would be looking at the programmable or fixed or variable equipment based on the flow path category. And whether your product would require a continuous or discrete flow of material. That is also important in determining the equipment type. Then we have a category of the operating conditions. In operating conditions, we actually look at the factors which are related to the environment in which the material or your equipment would operate. Does the equipment is affected by the humidity in the environment? Do we need to maintain the temperature for that equipment? For example, in a cold storage, I have to maintain the temperature. A specific temperature needs to be maintained for a proper storage of your product, and even the equipment that would be taking it from one station to another station, workstation, would actually require to maintain that temperature as well. And of course, the congestion, whether it becomes congested or not, that would be the important criteria as well. So what we have seen is that factors, there are different categories, and those categories have different factors that actually affect the selection of your equipment, and they are very important. The next step would then be to actually elicit weights for those different factors, and then you will determine that what type of equipment actually is more appropriate when you have different criteria or different factors and their importance with you. Thank you.